Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn show, man. Today is July the 15th. 3 WNBA games on the board for today. The first one starts in about 2 hours, I think, according to Eastern Standard Time. It's about 9:45 on the East Coast right now. So let's jump right into it, man. Yesterday, I had a full game under, which was the winner between the Mystics and the Toronto Temple yesterday. That was a winner. But I also had Sonia Citron over her rebounds. And Sonia Citron never even showed up. She could have stayed in DC for the game. I think she had like 2 points and 4 assists, and she got those late. I also talked about Nair Sabli under her 10 and a half points, and she shot the ball more than she shot it in a really long time. She struggled to get there, but I think she finished with 11 points. So that would have been a loser had I bet it on 3 for 11 shooting. Just gross. But team total under for Toronto I had on the short list was a winner as well, under 85 and a half. Mystics play some defense. You just can't trust them offensively. So hopefully you guys know some ways to make some money. Let's jump into it for today. So Jackson is up first. AI sports betting tool linked in the description of the video. Today I asked Jackson for player props. So I asked Jackson to analyze today's WNBA slate to identify the highest value player props. For player props, focus on lines that show a significant discrepancy against recent 5-game rolling averages, tracking changes in usage rate due to injuries, or favorable defensive matchups, specifically targeting matchups in points, rebounds, or assists, and then to provide the underlying data, the underlying metrics, and reasoning for each recommendation. So Jackson's favorite player prop for today is Aaliyah Boston over her points and assists. And this one is a little sketchy to me because I don't really like taking a lot of overs against the Golden State Valkyries defense, which we'll talk about a little bit more in just a second. So it says that Aaliyah Boston is the premier value play on the board, while her season average is already above this line. Her recent form has been elite. Over her last 10 games, she's cleared the 17 and a half and 90% of her outings, averaging 20.4 points and assists. Most impressively, she's been a road warrior, hitting the over in 81% of her visitor games this season with a mean of 22.5, which she'll be at home today. So take that with a grain of salt. It says that she matches up with a Golden State defense that ranks 12th in the league against her position for points and assist combo, which that's interesting. I don't know about that. It says it's middle of the pack. However, her recent volume and her ability to facilitate from the high post provides a high floor that the market has not adjusted for, given her near perfect hit rate in road contests and 100% hit rate over her last 5 games. The over 17 and a half is a high probability play. So she's not on the road. You have to take that into consideration if you do like this pick. I'm on the fence about playing overs in this game from either side, but we'll talk about it in just a second. That is Jackson. Linked in the description as always. Make sure you guys check it out if you're interested. All right. So first up, we will go to start off in Seattle. Chicago is the early game. This game starts off at 12. So yeah, it starts off at 12. Currently we have, let me just see if we have anything updated on the injury report. Let's see. Let me just refresh real quick, because I know Cardosa is listed as questionable, and that's humongous in this game. Let's see what we have. Wow, we just spinning like. Yeah, we don't have any updates yet. So Cardosa is still listed as questionable at this time. No Dejanay, and of course no Skylar Diggins-Smith either. Or Skylar Diggins. And then on the Seattle side of things, Izzy got hurt again. She's going to be out for a while. But outside of that, Seattle should have everybody. So it's a tricky game, man, because the way I see it, and let me highlight the Seattle part so you guys know how to follow along. All right. So the way I kind of think about this is at 2.5. It's up to 3.5 now, and total continuing to move up as well. It's 170. Let's see. 170.5 is about where it is. Spread was, and let's see where it opened. Opened 3.5, went down to 2.5, and coming back up now. Total hasn't really moved a lot at all. So tricky spot on tricky side for both spots. Where you got Seattle playing. First of all, Seattle's just terrible on the road. This is the fourth of a 5-game road trip for them. They've lost back-to-back against Atlanta and Washington, and they're the worst offensive team in the WNBA on the road so far this season. So immediately I think over, but then I'm like, I don't like, can Seattle contribute against the Chicago team? If they don't have Cardoso, that's a lot of size that they're going to miss down there. But betting on one the back of Seattle-led offense is gross, especially at 12 o'clock noon when they typically play at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So that scares me. In a point spread range like this, where it's 2.5 or 3.5, you really want to look at just records overall. Chicago, not the greatest team at home. They won, 3 of their 10 games so far at home. And Seattle has been terrible on the road, just 2-11 straight up. So that's why you get such a small spread. But then you start looking at the situational spots, and I talked about it, right? Seattle playing their 4th straight road game of a 5-game road trip. They have covered 3 straight. But again, offensively, they've just been bad. 79 against Washington, 78 against Atlanta, 82 against the Sparks. They did win that game. And then before that, they scored 77 against the Portland Fire. And that game was at home as well. 67 against Portland. So the offense had been looking really good. 3 straight games where they had 99 or more. And then, they can't get to 90. They can't even get to 85. So offenses look really, really bad. On the Chicago side of things, another terrible spot for them. First game back home off the 4-game road trip, and they've gone over in back-to-back games versus Dallas and in Los Angeles. It kind of makes me think that this game could go under. Now, both of these teams play really, really fast. They both top 5 in pace, which that scares me a little bit, but one to taking the over. But I kind of feel like the books are starting to catch on to some of these high totals. I've been someone that's been, constantly talking about overs. We're seeing, a extremely fast pace played in the WNBA this season. I don't know. This one just kind of leaves me in a pickle almost. Like I'm not really sure what to do here as far as this total goes. So this is where I started the handicap, right? So first I thought over, right? 171. Both teams, again, top 5 in pace and as far as like home road splits. And I know Chicago's the 3rd fastest paced team in the WNBA. Then I looked at Seattle offensively and how bad they were on the road, and that kept me off. Next thing I looked at was teams playing their 4th straight road game, but only short dogs, right? 3 points or less. And since 2022, they've been getting smoked. They're 0-9 straight up against the number. They lose by average of 10 points, although the spread is just +2, right? That said, Chicago wins and they cover. But for Chicago, again, first game back home off a 4-game road trip where they lost back-to-back games. It's the early start time game for the camp day. However, the Storm are just 1-3 straight up and against the number when they've been road dogs, small road dogs, 4 points or less. So I say all that. I guess Chicago is the right spot. Maybe Cardoso gets rolled out. The line comes down. They find a way to win anyway. I don't know. I think I don't like the spot for Seattle more than I don't like the spot for Chicago. So that would be my thought process. But Seattle won the game. It wouldn't surprise me. I'll probably end up staying off of this one. From a player prop perspective, I didn't look too deeply into anything in this game. So I won't give you guys any thoughts on player props in this one. All right. Next up is the Sparks and the Minnesota Lynx. So this line was at 12.5 yesterday. And the total opened as low as 180.5 on Caesars, 183.5 on Bally Bet, but it's come down a little bit to about 182.5. Cameron Brink is listed as questionable for the Minnesota Lynx. No Kelsey Plum, and then Dorka Juhas's game time decision, and no Nafisa Collier, of course. So for the Sparks, it's the second of a 4-game road trip. They lost to Atlanta in their last game, but they did cover by half a point. 3 straight covers for them, and 4 straight overs. The Sparks are playing one way, and it's fast. That's the only way they know how to play. They get up and down the floor. On the Minnesota Lynx side of things, it'll be their what is it? I think it's they've won 3 straight, and they've struggled in those games though to close out. They actually they were losing by 8 in the fourth quarter at the start of the fourth quarter to Phoenix the other day, but 5 straight non-covers for them overall. So the line is becoming too big of a margin. Remember, Minnesota was getting points at the beginning of the season. And now, at home, it continuing to lay points. They were laying, I think it was 10.5, 11.5 in that game against Phoenix the other day. So 5 straight overs for them. Defensively, they haven't really been locked in, but they are able to score the basketball. It is their 3rd straight home game. That's what I was trying to think of. And they've owned the Sparks as well. They've won 9 of the last 10 head-to-head, including 5 straight. They've covered all 5. Something tells me the Sparks may be able to stick around in this one. Just kind of looking at some systems and some queries about teams, one, double-digit revenge, which the Sparks do have in this spot. And I think that they'll be able to score. I think the Sparks will be able to, keep pace with Minnesota. Minnesota, of course, a great offense, but, backdoor cover wouldn't surprise me in this one. So if I'm betting this one I don't even know how gross it sounds, honestly, but I'll be taking the Sparks plus the points. I know Minnesota is capable of blowing teams out, but they haven't been doing so quite yet. And the offense just playing really, really well. I think the Sparks can score with them as well. And I think if I'm betting the total, I'm not looking towards an under in the Sparks game, especially with how fast Minnesota plays. Minnesota not really playing their best defense right now. They let Phoenix shoot 44% from the three-point line in that last game. So it'd be Sparks and over for me if I'm betting this one. Really don't want to take an under in the Sparks game at all. But Minnesota team total like 96.5, and that's what the Sparks been giving it up. So it'd be over and it'd be Sparks for me in that one. All right, last game on the board is Golden State and Indiana. And this line actually opened. I had done some work early on this game. This line opened with in the Sparks getting, the Fever getting says 1.5, but I thought I saw 2.5. And the total was at 168.5, and it's come down now to as low as 165.5. This is one, it's still a couple 166.5s out there. This is one where I think you do like under. I like under specifically, and I did bet this. I bet the hold on. So you know what? Before I do that, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about the injury report. So Golden State has Gabby Williams listed as game time decision. She did not play in the last game. When the Valkyries were able to get the job done against, I think the last time they played was against Connecticut. But they have 4 days of rest in this spot. And the Indiana Fever have Caitlin Clark listed as probable, which I do think that she'll play. So you got pretty healthy teams. Both of these teams have been absolutely balling. For Golden State, I think they've won something like 6 or 7 in a row. I think it's the longest win streak in the history of their franchise. Let's just see what it is real quick. I'll give you guys the exact number. So yeah, they've won 7 in a row. They've covered all 7 as well, which is kind of crazy. And they play under in 3 of those, under in 4, 5, 6, 7 of those of their 8 last games for this Golden State team. And then on the Indiana side of things, they also hot, man. They won 2 in a row. They did lose to the Sparks, but before that, they had won 2 more. So they've won 4 of their last 5. They've covered 3 of their last 5 as well. Their offense has absolutely been humming, scoring 109 points against the Aces. And then I'm looking at 5 of their last 6. They've gone over the number. So the way I think about this game is the thing I trust more than anything, right? The Indiana offense, Kelsey Mitchell, she's been absolutely balling. We'll talk about her player prop in just a second. Is Golden State's defense, man. I know that it's not necessarily the greatest spot because it's the last game of a 5-game road trip, but they've had 3 days. I think I said 4 days of rest, or let's see. Last time they played was on the 12th. So they've had last time they played was on the 10th. So yeah, they have had 4 days of rest in this spot. And that's one thing I was looking at. So when the Valkyries have, like, this goes back all the way to last season. When the Valkyries have more than 3 days of rest, they're both 6-3 straight up and against the number. They've held 3 straight opponents under their team total. And that's what I think you get a super high number. Well, it's not super high, but I think if I would have got the opener, which I didn't, Indiana team total is what I like in this game. I played it under. For them, they played, again, in 3 straight overs, most recently against Vegas, where they got to 109. They caught Vegas slipping on the second leg of a back-to-back, but the other 2 were against really poor defenses. They played against Phoenix, who've been giving it up to everybody. They played against the Sparks. We don't got to talk about how bad their defense has been. They've also played 4 straight road games, so first game back home off the road trip as well. So I bet the Indiana Fever, not for the faint of heart, but I bet their team total under 84.5. It was a couple things that I noticed with this. So one is I looked at teams that are coming off a road win, but then they're laying a super small number, and they shot the ball really well in that last game, which, of course, the Indiana Fever did because they got to 109 points. So I looked at teams that, shot 55% or better. won their previous game as a road dog, and then they are laying just a short number in those games of 6-2 to the under. And I think that they will, struggle again. The Valkyries with 3 days of rest in their franchise history, they just do a really good job. And remember, these two teams played earlier this season. They played twice. The Valkyries won the first one. Fever won the first one. Valkyries got their revenge in the second one. But in that first game, I remember the Valkyries were on a road trip and they were playing on the second leg of a back-to-back. I think that's why they ended up giving up 90 to, the Fever offense. I don't think that's going to happen in this game. I do think it'll be played slow and deliberate the way that the Valkyries typically play games. This is the fastest paced team in the league versus the slowest paced team in the league, of course, as well. But my thought process is that the Valkyries defense will show up here. I don't know how much I trust the Fever's defense, even though they have been playing a little bit solid, defensively as well, a little bit better defensively as well. So both games so far have gone over the number, but I'm taking the Fever team total under 84.5 is what I got on FanDuel when I bet it. All right, now as far as player props go, and then we'll do a quick recap and get out of here. As far as player props go, there's a couple that kind of jumped out to me, and really it's in this last game. One thing I was looking at is that both of these teams are really good at rebounding the basketball. The Indiana Fever give up the fewest rebounds in the WNBA. So I think targeting somebody for the Golden State Valkyries under their boards is a good look. But I also think because the Golden State Valkyries are the second best rebounding team, they give up the second fewest, rebounds. That targeting somebody that has a high number on the Fever side of things is also a pretty good look. So I like Aaliyah Boston under her boards today. 9.5 is the number. I think they'll do a good job of, boxing her out. Maybe the guards come down and crash. You got Monique Billings in there as well. Maybe her under her boards as well. You look at the head-to-head matchup. The first matchup they played, this was the one where the Valkyries were playing on the second leg of a back-to-back. She got 16 boards. But then when they went to Golden State, she had just 6 boards. And I think it'll be more like this. Even though these games were high scoring, and I'm expecting the day to be a little bit more of a lesser scoring game, I like Aaliyah Boston under her 9.5 boards. Let's see real quick. If we go alternate line and we go under 9.5, I think this was starting to get juiced. Let's see, under 9.5. Yeah, Prophet X got it at -132, and Caesars got it at -137. I think this will be a difficult game, and I also considered Caitlin Clark. He dropped the number so low, but I consider Caitlin Clark under her assist prop. It's at 6.5, I think was the number. Real quick, if we go look at Caitlin Clark, first of all, she's still on that minutes limit. Let's see, in her last game against the Aces, I mean, they did blow the Aces out, but she played just 24 minutes in that game. You can see 15 minutes in her first game back in quite a while. And then, 20 minutes in the game that she got hurt against FaZe. So I'm not expecting her to play heavy minutes. We know that the Valkyries give up the fewest assists in the WNBA. I know Caitlin Clark is at home. So if we go here, we look at her head-to-head splits. She did get the nod in that first game. Again, the Valkyries won the second leg of a back-to-back. And then she only got the 6 in the second game in Golden State. So I kind of think if the Valkyries defense brings it, then I think all of these things that I just talked about are kind of, they're very well correlated. So this is my thought process on this game. Caitlin Clark under her 6.5 assists, even though this shows over. Under 6.5 assists would be, see what we can get the best number. Kashi got it at +101. Prophet X +100. FanDuel -108. I like Caitlin Clark under her 6.5 assists. Zoom out, she's averaging 7.7. But again, the Valkyries give up the fewest assists in the WNBA. And I just don't think the minutes will be there for Caitlin as well to be able to get this many assists. Those are my thoughts for today. One top play for me, which, let's see if I can get back to my screen. Let's see. Yeah, one top play for me. I like Indiana team total under 86 and 84.5. But yeah, hit the like if you can, subscribe if you guys have not, and let's get into the official recap. So I did bet this. It may be the only thing that I ended up betting today. But I do like that a lot. Indiana team total under. Let me just make sure I got 84.5. Let's see. I think some reason I'm thinking that I got a better number, but I think it was 84.5. Yeah, I got 84.5, minus 111. Other plays that I like, Leah Boston under her 9.5 rebounds. Caitlin Clark under her 6.5 assists. And in that Sparks game, it'd be Sparks plus the 11.5 and over. If I was betting it, I'm not sure if I'll get there. These are like really high totals at this point. I feel like the books are kind of catching on. Not gonna keep giving us like free overs. Like they could just set the total so high, and we'll start to see some regression from these teams. And then in the first game, I think Chicago is the right side, man. I don't know. Let's see if you can still get 2.5. I'm not sure if I'll actually bet this 2.5. Yeah, you can still get some 2.5 right now. It's 3.5 on a couple books, and no really thoughts on the total. So that's what I like today, man. Best of luck on you on whatever it is that you guys are betting. Resources, check them out. They're all linked in the description. Jackson, Outlier, Moneyballer, Odds Jam, and that'll be it for the show, man. I appreciate everybody for tapping in as always. Y'all enjoy y'all Wednesday. I'll catch you guys in the next one, man.